Hey guys, how are you all doing? Here we are, Tuesday night, as always. Um, and as always, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I believe the others that participate in this group appreciate it. It's really nice that we have a group of people that keep coming back here every week, whether it's live at the time that we're here at 8:30 or if it's past that. We have several people that watch the replay. Super appreciative of that. Each week we have an intention, right? So this week, our intention: I welcome positive breakthrough and change. I welcome positive breakthrough and change. So, this is the first time you've heard the intention, or if not, if you've already seen it on the website or on the Facebook page or on the YouTube page or the Instagram page, just sit with that intention for just a moment before we say anything else and before we talk about it. I encourage you to take a deep breath of some form. A nice inhale and exhale while you think about the intention. If you struggle a little on the first breath like I did, feel free to take another. Sometimes it takes more than one. Sometimes it takes a lot. So, yes. So, working with our intention this week. A few transits that we were looking at. As always, the intention is formed by looking at the energies that are around us, looking at the aspects in the sky and how they're interacting, and the energies that are around us. Taking all of that, coming up with forming an intention, a thought that we can put into words, into something maybe a little bit more, I was going to say tangible, but I guess that's not quite exactly the right word. Just something that seems a little more physical, a little more actual maybe. So we come up with it. We have an intention that we can all share together that represents the energies that are around us. And then I encourage you to take that intention and change it a little bit yourself. Add words, take words away, and make it your own. So this week we have a few aspects that we were looking at. So first of all, I thought it was interesting to note that this week we started off with the moon in the sign of Aries, starting off on Sunday, at least within my time in the area that I live. And I always feel like it's kind of like when like if New Year's Eve starts on like a Sunday or on a Monday or something like that, or New Year's Day, and the new year just starts on a like on a new calendar week as well as like a new year, right? It's kind of the same type of thing here, where it kind of feels like when it starts out with the moon in the sign of Aries, we're starting off at the first sign in the beginning of the week, and it just kind of feels like it starts with some sort of change. It starts with something new. Not to mention that Aries is ruled by Mars and is all about individual action and change and doing something new and trying something new, right? So I thought that part was really, really kind of neat. We're going to talk about Uranus today within the aspects, and very much in play with our intention here. The word breakthrough and the word change, both of those are kind of key words that you often hear associated with Uranus. So although the moon started out yesterday, Sunday, in Aries, the moon is now in Taurus, and it's sitting right with Uranus. I believe it's at 23 degrees in some odd minutes, where Uranus is at 22 degrees. So it's within a degree of Uranus on the separating end. But I feel like with us talking about Uranus today and the moon sitting on there right here, right at this exact time, we've had this before where it works out. It lines up with our meditation. It's really, really neat. It just brings in a level of closeness of the energy. The moon can represent us and our body, our physicality, and bringing the aspect and the energy, this changing revolutionary energy of Uranus that we're kind of trying to play into a little bit tonight. The moon is sitting right there. So us, our physical body, this changing material thing that we have for this lifetime, is sitting right there with Uranus. And that means that the moon is also in a square to Venus, just like Uranus is, which is one of our key aspects for this week. We've talked about Uranus a lot lately, we talked about Venus a lot lately, and we've talked about the square between the two of them also, because this is not the first time we've seen this square. We talked about how the square between the sign of Leo and the sign of Taurus is going to happen 3 times. We're right in the middle there right now. So Uranus and Venus are in the square position for the second time, this time within the retrograde motion, and we'll hit this aspect yet one more time. So, we've talked a lot extensively about Venus and all that she represents. Collectively, cumulatively, Venus is all of the good and all of the wonderful things. Venus represents love and harmony and balance and peace. It represents money and assets and values and aesthetics. It represents art and music. It represents women. All of these wonderful, lovely, beautiful things that our life encompasses. Sitting in the square to Uranus, the planet of change, the planet of revolution, the planet of surprise and excitement, the planet of instantaneous change. Right? We also talked about how Uranus has this little bit of like creative ingenuity aspect to it. We've talked about that recently too. Trying to give you the quick rundown without totally repeating myself every time we come back here. So you have wonderful, lovely, enjoyable things in a square, in a scratchy aspect to change and revolution. So we've talked about with Venus being retrograde, and through this whole cycle, through the sign of Leo, I really feel like all of us in some way or another have something that is within us that is trying to come out. And you can say that we all have that at all times, but I don't necessarily think it's quite like that. I feel like it's, and this is from all the people, just the people that I talk to, interact with, whatever. It seems like there's a lot of people, and if you don't feel this way, that's okay, that just have some sort of burning desire within them. And a burning desire, that is Venus in Leo right there. That is a textbook description of it. So Venus started moving through Leo in a direct motion, moving forward, passing by, now coming back in retrograde motion, coming back through the revisiting and the reviewing and looking at things again. So the first pass by with Uranus and Venus, we might have just kind of, maybe you just kind of notice the things that don't. You just start to kind of notice the things that don't quite fit what you want, or you start to notice the things that aren't bringing you Venusian feelings. You start to notice the things that maybe aren't benefiting you quite so much in your life. Come back around the second time, and now we start to, we've seen this before, we're coming back at it again, and now we're starting to not have quite so much patience maybe for it. The time is kind of running out type of thing. So now it's more like, okay, this thing that I want, or this thing that I don't want, that I want to get rid of, it's really kind of starting to be a thing now, and it's really starting to, bother me or irk me, or whatever the reaction is out of it. So that's kind of where I feel like we're at right now. Then once Venus finishes its retrograde motion and ends up back at the beginning of Leo and starts to make its way through, it'll make that third pass, and that will be, that'll be like the culminating pass, and the hopefully the time that we can kind of approach that with a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more experience too with it. So we're kind of right in that middle phase, not where like the first aspect it catches you off guard, or the last of the 3 aspects where it where we have maybe a little bit more, hopefully a little bit more wisdom and a little bit more knowledge to handle the situation at hand. So we're kind of in that middle ground here. Also this week, Jupiter and the Sun sitting in a square position. Sun at 14 degree Leo and Jupiter at 14 degree Taurus. Again, we're talking about the same exact axis here with Leo and Taurus. Didn't mention, but I might as well, we've talked about it a lot, about how grounding and how solid the sign of Taurus is. So things that birth out of the sign of Taurus, they're often lasting, whether that's for good or for not. But they're often things that are difficult. They're solid things. They're things that are built in and baked in so much that once they start to get momentum, it's kind of hard to slow them down. And it's not that the momentum just like necessarily keeps picking up, but it keeps its steady pace within the sign of Taurus. So that energy level is able to kind of sustain itself. So that way we're not, it's not like in the sign of Aries where sometimes we can get burnt out from moving too fast and not thinking things through. It's this steady motion where, I'm a Taurus sun, so I'd like to think I kind of know the Taurus energy a little bit, but once it might be kind of hard to get that ball rolling, but once it's rolling, it's really, really hard to get that ball to stop. And then squaring to the sign of Leo, fire, passion from the heart, right? We've talked a lot about authenticity of the heart lately. So, the sun, when the sun is in an aspect to any planet, it brings great power to the aspect. And I also feel like it brings illumination too. I feel like it's kind of like shining a spotlight or a flashlight on something, I feel like. So, the sun is shining its flashlight or its spotlight on Jupiter right now, on the planet of wisdom and abundance and knowledge and and prosperity and it's very much that kind of elderly positive wisdom feeling. So within this time where we have this aspect between Venus and Uranus, remember we got the moon sitting there with us right now while we do our meditation, so that's extra energy for us. Working together to see what brings us joy and what doesn't bring us joy, what brings us pleasure, what doesn't bring us pleasure, what do we need to keep in our life that's going to benefit us and what is not going to benefit us, wherever that's playing out in your life. There's also a little bit of, like a little light shined on knowledge or a little wisdom or like a little insight, just a little bit here. So I feel like that's kind of a neat little pass to this one here. I feel like it kind of, like maybe it kind of brings in a little bit of that, that energy I was talking about for the last pass of the 3 passes of this aspect, where the last one, hopefully you can, the last time you can kind of approach it with a little bit more experience, knowledge, wisdom, whatever it is, a little bit more know-how. It's kind of like Jupiter is bringing that in right now. So we have that now and we have that then. So, and then lastly, we have Jupiter trining Mercury in the sign of Virgo. So this is bringing in that same Jupiter energy. Trines working well together, just the things that flow nicely with our mind, right? We talk about Mercury. I always kind of go up like this, just to kind of give you that reminder. Our mind, our thoughts, our perceptions, the tools and the things, the resources that we have, that we work with, the things, sometimes it has to deal with, like in the sign of Gemini, your hands, the things that you use to work with tools and whatnot. So you have this little bit of wisdom and this little bit of knowledge that the sun is shining the light on within this week for us to work with this intention. But then you have Mercury also interacting with Jupiter at the same time. So it's kind of like there's this opportunity for the sun to be shining the light on Jupiter while our mind and our mercurial side, our problem-solving side, especially within the sign of Mercury, in the sign of Virgo where Mercury is right now, its home sign is very comfortable in the sign of Mercury, which I find interesting. allows you to kind of piece things together with a little bit of knowledge, maybe a little bit of intuition, maybe just a little bit of like divine insight here. So this week we have, like I said, this week we have the this week we have the three aspects. We have Jupiter squaring the Sun, we have Uranus squaring Venus, and we have Jupiter trining Mercury. And I was putting together, just kind of like my little quick list for each one of these planets, and just like the first kind of like keywords that kind of popped into my head. And then I looked at the list and I looked at, so I have them just kind of listed in order: Sun, Jupiter, Uranus, Venus, Mercury. And I just have a whole bunch of keywords listed next to it. Most of them we've already talked about, but then I thought it was kind of neat when I looked at my list and I looked at the first word I had for each planet. So I'm just going to read the first word off of my little scratchy notes here that I have. So we have power, expansion, change, love, and mind. So I'm going to say that one more time because I feel like that big ramble that I just gave about the technicalities of the aspects can be very much summed up, probably much better than my wordy version, with just these few keywords. And I feel like they're pretty powerful and pretty impactful. Power, expansion, change, love, in your mind. Wow. All of those together. I welcome positive breakthroughs and change. Now, the goal with our meditation here and with our intention is always to try to bring in and feel into the the more positive side of the aspect. I never want to ignore positive or negative sides of any aspect. So I do want to say that I feel like the energies that are around us, I feel like they're not very cut and dry, because it's not, especially when you're talking about Uranus and you're talking about Venus in the sign of retrograde, going against the grain. You're talking about something kind of going renegade, something going against the grain, something that is going to stop going with the flow, and it's going to push back or move backwards. It's going to move out of the way. It's going to push something aside. It's going to make some sort of dramatic change. And those dramatic changes are so dependent on your life and your path and the things that you're doing and the choices that you make and all of the XYZ that goes along with it there. Not to mention that Venus within her retrograde period is now, so she's moving back towards the sun, right? Now she is under the beam of the sun, so she's no longer visible to us in the sky. She's now invisible in the sky, and that is significant in a symbolic way. It's symbolic of the Venusian things, of the things that bring us pleasure, the things that bring us love and bring us harmony, being somewhat distant, being somewhat, I don't want to say out of reach because that's not the case, but kind of where it seems like it's just slightly far, just slightly removed, maybe. That's a good way to say it. It's just kind of outside of where we want it to be. Maybe it's really far outside of where you want it to be. But these things they're all individual to all of us. So I really feel like, especially with this Uranus energy, it's a little bit more difficult to predict on, let's say, like a collective level. Within your own life, you very well might be able to kind of predict where it's at. Within your own chart, you'll also be able to predict where it's at by looking at that. But it's kind of one of those things that it might be you kind of notice it afterwards. So that's where our intention comes from. I welcome positive breakthroughs and change. I welcome positive breakthroughs and change. So positive. We're focusing on that positive keyword because, you know, like I just said, Uranus can, it's, you know, it's things can change and things can change quickly. So we want to focus on bringing things in that benefit us and our path, and the things that we're trying to do, the things that will bring forward those desires, but within a positive and a constructive way, rather than just a totally like indulging way, which can totally happen with Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And then key to our meditation tonight, when I'm thinking about Uranus, especially Uranus and Venus interactions together, sometimes I kind of, and this isn't necessarily saying that it's a good or a bad thing, because I really think like good and bad and positive and negative are a little bit, they're relative they're relative to us, right? And to everything within our own experience and our own reality. But when Uranus and especially with Venus come around and make these changes, sometimes I kind of feel like it's, and I say this with a little hesitation, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I see it sometimes as maybe a little bit of a divine intervention of some kind. Again, that doesn't mean it's good or bad. That doesn't mean it's positive or negative. So a divine intervention, or you might kind of call it fate, if it's maybe not so much on the positive side, whichever word works better for you. But Uranus is a planet that we've talked about this extensively lately too. Uranus is a planet that when it comes around and starts interacting, you have things that change really quickly, right? And sometimes that can be things within our psyche and within our being. Uranus, the mythology of Prometheus that we've talked about recently too, about how Prometheus is the god that stole light and knowledge from the gods and gave it to man, in this very like quick lightning type of way. This is where we get kind of like ingenuity and ingenious thinking. A lot of those Uranus like sparks, I feel like a lot of that comes from the cosmos, God, the universe, divine intervention, whatever it is. I feel like those little sparks, those little nudges, they come from us, yes, and they come from within us, but I feel like they kind of come from maybe like another side of us that is... Hi, Lily. We have a visitor tonight, so we're going to have somebody sit with us. Come sit down. This is my daughter, Lily. This is my 4-year-old. And she likes to meditate too, so she's going to join us tonight, aren't you? This is that quick, this is that quick Uranus change and adapting to it here is when the 4-year-old comes downstairs. So she's going to be part of us here with us tonight. Let's see, can we, yeah, you can see her there. Okay, so a lot of these pushes and stuff, I feel like they come from us, yes, they come from inside us, but they also kind of come from beyond us. Am I getting too crazy, too woo-woo, and too out there for you? Hopefully not, because this is what it's all about here. I feel like it's something that comes from within inside of you, but it's also coming from guidance of some kind. So that is what I really want to tap into with this meditation. So I welcome positive breakthroughs and change. In these changes and these breakthroughs, a lot of times they're guided by us. We ask for guidance from our spirit guides. We ask for guidance from our angels. We ask for guidance from our ancestors. We ask for guidance from ourselves and from all kinds of people and beings around us, and whether they're visible or not. So that's what our meditation is about tonight. We are going to channel, I want you to focus on bringing in these positive changes and breakthroughs, but bringing them in from a higher source, bringing them in from wherever that divine intervention that I'm kind of describing comes from for you. So that's what we're looking at this week. Hi, everybody. I'm looking in the comments now. Nikita, Thomas, Sarah, hello. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for commenting. Lily Nikita says hi. Okay, so.
Mama,
Yep, we're gonna do a meditation now. Would you like to do a meditation with us? Yeah? Okay. Remember how we sit when we meditate?
Yeah.
Baby
bear will be my cushion.
Okay. Baby bear can be your cushion. And how do we sit? There you go. Okay. So, I welcome positive breakthrough and change. Lots of change going on. Lots of energy. Lots of contemplating. Lots of things that the light is being shined on. The flashlight is shining bright on so much right now within our lives, and bringing forward the things that don't serve us well, the things that do not serve Venus well. And Venus retrograde in the sign of Leo, where she's retrograding for quite some time. It's a place where our desires and our needs and our wants, they're in a fiery place. And Leo's extroverted. Leo is not afraid of showing its heart. So Leo is not afraid to show its heart and to make its needs known. And sometimes I think a lot of us could use a little bit more of that. So the energy for that, it's around us this week. It's going to be around for a while. This Venus retrograde, I think it's just really, really beautiful. And I think it's really beautiful that we have the moon sitting with Uranus and squaring Venus right now, with that aspect being such a big part of what we have going on here this week. So, without any further, all right, make sure you sit up and be quiet, okay? Okay. So, we will light our intentional candle, and as we light our intentional candle, I want you to repeat the intention. I encourage you to do it out loud. If you don't want to, that's okay too. Take what works for you and leave the rest behind. I welcome positive breakthrough and change. Will you say it with me, Lily? I welcome. Say it after me. I welcome. Can you say it? Positive. Breakthrough. And
Meditate.
and change. And change. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Meditate.
Now we're going to meditate. Okay, see your meditation pose. There you go. Okay, so I welcome positive breakthrough and change. Wherever the breakthrough is needed, wherever the change is needed, that is up to you. Only you know exactly where that is. But the fact that breakthrough and change is a theme, that is the case for all of us. We are all on the cusp of something. I welcome positive breakthrough and change. Sit with that intention for upstairs. You're not supposed to be down here. Okay? So you have to sit in meditation pose. If you don't want to, then you have to go upstairs. Okay? No talking. Okay? Okay. And once you have thoroughly sat with the change and the breakthrough that you are inviting into your body, into your being, I want you to check in with yourself. I want you to check in with your mind. I want you to check in with your thoughts. Check in with your body. How are you feeling at this moment? What is the level of energy that you have brought with you to this meditation? To this sacred space of you going within and having a conversation not only with yourself, but with the universe, with Source, with your soul, with all that is. Please stay upstairs. Now, after you've acknowledged the space that you're in, the energy level, and the emotions that you have brought with you, the thoughts, everything that you are at this very moment, we're now going to welcome in that positive change. Start to deepen your breath and start to focus more on your breath and more on your breathing. And I want you to slowly increase each inhale and exhale. Each breath you inhale for a little bit longer than the one before it. Each exhale lasts and releases a little bit more than the breath before that. I welcome positive change and breakthrough. Is it getting easier for you to alter your breath when you enter this space with yourself? If so, that is a breakthrough in its own. And if not, you invite in positive change, slow but steady, just like the sign of Taurus. sitting with your breath, being actively involved in the inhales and the exhales, actively involved in the transfer of energy, the movement of air. And each inhale in, you are aware and recognize the air entering your body, filling your lungs, expanding your abdominal cavity. And on each exhale, you feel not only the air leaving your lungs, but also anything that is holding you back, any stress or any tension that you're holding on from today or yesterday or the day before that. You feel the release and you recognize that release. Continuing to breathe in and out, inhaling and exhaling. We did absolutely nothing else during this meditation other than focus on that exchange of air and energy through our lungs. That alone would be enough to bring in positive change and positive breakthroughs. So just by showing up here, just by making time and space to sit with yourself, you are making positive changes and leading yourself to a breakthrough. Now let's bring our attention to our heart space. Bring your attention right to the middle of your chest, the space where not only your physical heart beats, but also the place where your infinite heart lives, where your soul lives, the part of you that never dies, lives right here within you. The heart chakra, the bridge between the lower and the higher chakras. And comfort and contentment. Bring that into your heart space. And at each inhale that comes in to your body, feel it entering your chest and filling you with not only divine love, but self-love, love for yourself.
Mama.
You cannot care for others cannot fill others' cups without filling ours first. Sit with that thought for just a moment. You need to go upstairs. Please go upstairs. I'll be up there in a little bit. A lot of the change and a lot of the breakthrough that we are looking for, a lot of what we desire and want, and those pleasures that seem like they're just slightly removed, a lot of the reason those things are removed are because we are not open to them, and we have not opened up our heart and our mind to them. I welcome positive breakthrough and change. Venus moving in her retrograde fashion through the fiery sign of Leo as she makes her way towards the sun to make contact with the great divine energy that is all. Great divine intelligence. She's slowly, ever so slowly, almost at a crawling pace, starting to move out of the underworld from her evening star phase, where she is Queen of the Night, slowly crawling towards the light, towards the sun, towards the promise of warmth and protection and comfort. Soon, as she makes contact with the great light of the sun, she will move beyond and out of the underworld and out into the morning sky, where she can shine bright early in the day before the sun has rose. She will rise first. She will break through and make change into a new phase and into a new cycle. Now picture yourself as Venus. Picture yourself ever so slowly climbing out of the dark, climbing out of the underworld, moving up, 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 towards the light, towards the sun. And as you envision this, you physically feel your body lifting and moving up. You feel the warmth, you feel the comfort of the sun, you feel the protection and the knowledge that it brings, the order and the chaos. And you break through that barrier, moving up high, high into the sky, rising up into the ethers and over the land, starting a new day and a new dawn. And you break through what's holding you back. You break through the barriers, you release the chains, and you open yourself to those desires. You open yourself to that things will bring you value, things that bring you beauty, things that may bring you resources. Perhaps that's money or people. Earth and her inhabitants, her people. Sharing your abundances and your blessings makes room for more abundance and more blessings to come your way. The power of the sun. They are all within you. power, concentration, expansion, abundance, knowledge, wisdom, luck, change, surprise, ingenuity, creative change, thinking outside of the box, love, desire, passion, pleasure, men, women, our mind, our thoughts, and our perception, tools and the resources that we utilize, our conceptualization, wide variety of things at play here. The future is wide open, and on the other side, I welcome positive breakthrough and change. I welcome positive breakthrough and change. There is so much at your grasp. So many resources, so many tools, so many energies that are surrounding us. Informed change. That is what there is an abundance of. Knowledgeable movement and informed change. Positive breakthrough, positive change. Doesn't mean it's always easy. I will not ever promise you that. But I will promise you that the work between Leo and Taurus will be well worth it. Let's take one last deep breath in together. And I'm going to invite you to bring a little hand motion into this. Feel free to look at the camera if you need to see, or feel free to skip it altogether. Very simple. As you breathe in, I want you to start with your hands down by your side, or the closest equivalent for your position right now. And as you take a deep breath in, I want you to slowly raise your arms up until they're all the way overhead as you breathe in. Okay? So, start. Shoulders down, relaxed. Head facing forward and straight. And we begin our slow breath in and the slow ascent of your arms up. See how slowly you can move. And reach up overhead until your arms, your hands almost reach, but not quite. I want you to feel the energy between your own hands. Feel the energy. What does that mean? Try it and you will see. If you've never done it before. You have the power to cultivate and harness your own energy and the energy of the universe. Use it, honor it, and positive change and breakthrough will come. On the exhale, release your hands down. One more time, not so extended. Breathing in. Arms come up overhead, reaching towards the universe, towards the sky, toward the energy that is surrounding us at all times. Feel it entering your being. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And release. As always, when you show up here, you are showing up not only for yourself, not only for myself, but for all of those that participate in our group. And by raising our own vibration, focusing on our own energy and our own positive change and our own positivity, it only helps raise the collective energy, the collective vibration. So therefore, by showing up here for yourself, you are also showing up for others in the world. How beautiful is that? Thank you, thank you, thank you. As you move forward with the rest of your week, as you navigate these waters that could be a little bit bumpy with the suddenness and with the quick onset and the large quick onset, it's Jupiter and Uranus together. It can be a whirlwind, but keep your intention with you and come back to this space within you as often as you can. We're here on Tuesdays, but as your practice grows and you are starting to see the benefits of any sort of meditation practice, start to see if you can cultivate and carve out a little bit of time for your own meditation practice if you don't already. Or if you do, see if you can carve out a couple extra minutes. Thank you all for being here, as always. Such a nice space to be in. The energy at the end of this meditation, and I don't expect you guys to stick around if you have other things to do. I appreciate the time that you spend here. But the energy that is cultivated in this space, it just makes me not want to leave. It makes me just want to stay here. Thank you, all of you that are here. Thank you, all of you that are commenting and sharing your love and your energy. Uranus and Venus, here it is. We've been talking about it for a while. That change, it's a coming, and it's, yeah, that divine intervention, that fate, that plan that we put out for ourselves before we incarnated into this life. However it is that you view it, your own unconscious free will, your own free will, your own conscious free will also, to bring in only positive change and positive breakthrough. That's where the intention comes and helps us. So, starting to go a